Hey folks, and welcome to another episode today. I can't remember what number this is, but I'm sure you'll know what number it is by the episode today title. I think it might be 5. Yeah. Anyway, Kenshi, hi. This will probably be a shorter one than usual. I'm recording this quite late. Yeah, Kenshi's pretty cool. Kenshi's interesting because Kenshi's one of those games where it's obviously been developed by somebody who was really invested in the concept. So much so that they spent a ridiculous amount of time for one person to spend on the concept. That is, Kenshi has been developed by one person over the course of 12 years. And to that effect, the person gave up after 12 years. Well, I don't want to say gave up, but they decided to call it quits for a bit, and have not said that they will return, but they haven't said that they won't either. Just that they have spent all this time doing something which is such a massive idea. And I feel like in game design that's something that's particularly prevalent that I've seen with people who are determined to become game designers. It doesn't always end up this way, and this is actually one of the good versions of the story. Usually somebody goes into game design because they want to create an MMO or a franchise or some gloriously enormous game concept. And they kind of start, or they go to university and they do a couple of papers, and then they start, and then they just realize the entire scope of their idea is completely unapproachable, and then they lose steam and give up before they've even really started. But in this case, somebody obviously was like, screw it, I don't care if it's bigger than I am, I'm just going to keep working on it, and keep working on it, and keep working on it. And what we have today is Kenshi, which is obtuse. It's quite hard to get into because of its lack of polish, and because of its jankiness, its indie jankiness. Some odd user experience choices, some odd UI choices, some odd choices here and there, but when you actually get into the world of Kenshi, you kind of forgive it all those problems. You kind of forgive it the fact that it's missing development, and you kind of forgive it the fact that it's a little bit janky. You forgive it all these things because it's a like a sandbox experience which kind of just keeps on giving because of the amount of actual stuff that's gone into it, despite not being the finished product. What is there is so kind of like immersive in terms of the player experience. Like let's stop the group for a second, right? This is my team. This is the bench squad. It's headed up by Rorax, who's a Greenlander, female Greenlander. Take your mask off, Rorax, that's rude. A female Greenlander, who has lost all her limbs, but is a badass martial artist. And she leads, while we've got our stormtroopers here, who, I'm sorry to say, they're we've just been busy, so they're kind of wounded and a bit scraped up and stuff. They're all holding different body parts. She's holding her arm. But they're called the bench squad because they're all female except for the hivers, which we'll get to them. And hivers have no gender, so it's a bunch of badass women wandering the wasteland. And we've just got done with destroying a a slave market. And I think Addie here has the slave mask. Yep, the slave market master on her shoulder. These are my stormtroopers. They're in the heaviest gear. They're wearing crab raider trousers, unholy chestplate, samurai helmet, crab shoes, and they're wielding plate maces. And they've got spiked clubs. Now there is mods in this game, workshop mods, which is another thing that keeps you playing, of course, as we as mod users are familiar with on this channel, which has added these plate maces in terms of these characters here, the stormtroopery type class of the squad. And then I have Melody, Wee, Saint, Natasha, and Betty, and these are my mid kind of like they're my I don't know what you would call them. They're the ones that do all that. They're the actually scary ones. These ones are scary because you look at them coming at you and you're like, I can't handle this. They're walking tanks, right? These ones are the actually scary ones because they've got swords that are taller than they are, called udachi. These big things. Again, this is part of a modded sword, udachi. And everyone in this group has very high quality armor and stuff on. This is a very late game Kenshi game, by the way. So we've got Melody, Lee, Saint, Natasha, and Betty. And they've all got unholy chest plates on, which is heavy as well. But alternatively, they also have this other light stuff on, including the fog masks, the samurai cloth pants, and the drifter's boots. But they've all got black and chainmail on, which is the best in shirt slot. And then we got String, Scratch, Throke, Jagalonger, and Gratch. And Throke has a busted left arm at the moment, which is why it's all floppy. But they're all Hive Princes, which I have recruited. And Hive Princes are kind of like the noble class of Hivers. This guy's lost a leg, and so his right leg is replaced with a mechanical one. But Hivers are like insect people, which is why they're genderless. And so the princes are the ones that would normally, if they weren't in an independent group like ours, command the drones and the soldiers. But because they're in this group, they've actually become my archers. So each of them has a quiver and a crossbow. They're all using quite pathetic crossbows at the moment, and the reason for that is so that they don't actually murder my own people, because as far as these guys are concerned, they're still learning to use their weapons, and you need to get this stat here up, precision shooting, or else they'll end up killing everyone. So that's a good thing to talk about as well, like the amount of stats and things that are in this game. Stats go up with use, and you've got different kinds of weapons that they can go up in. Generic combat stats, so these kind of combine with the weapon stats to do more. But if you're somebody like Rorax, instead of your weapon stats mattering, it's your strength and your toughness. Not that strength and toughness doesn't matter for everyone else too, but your damage is dependent on your strength and your toughness, which is why hers is quite high. But she's got really high martial arts, really high dodge. She's got pretty good melee defense and attack, although those don't really go up. Well, melee attack does go up. Well, no, I think melee attack only goes up if you use a weapon. Doesn't if you're doing martial arts. Oh, we've got some stuff going on. We've got dogs. Everyone off hold, please. Go murder these fools. My archers are getting into the mix at the moment because we've actually been on a really long campaign, which has meant that all my archers are out of ammo at the moment, and Rorax is down because she had recently taken some major damage to her chest. But these are bone dogs. This is just a pack of wild dogs that are wandering the wastes. You're definitely not on Earth. That's for sure. Everyone's gonna heal up. Yeah, Set, you can stop being on hold. Let everyone do the medic job. How's Oren doing with the food supply? Oren's doing alright with the food supply. Need to put some more of this in here. That's good. Okay. Well, yeah, so Kenshi, it's this whole interesting sandbox world. We're down here. We've just come from here. We've been walking this road over the course of this video. And you've got all of this world to explore. So if we're here, you've got, you know, it's a massive, massive world. And I think as far as this group is concerned, their campaign is over for now. They're going to go to Flats Lagoon and take a rest. I think that's what our plan will be. Even though Rorax was down, she's up quickly because she's got really high toughness, which allows her to take a beating and still go. But yeah, we've got all these other squads as well. So if I go to Green Beach here in a second, I can show you that it's more than just wandering around as a squad. Gotta load in though. It's gotta do some severe loading. This is part of the jank of the game that you kind of put up with. That there is some work it has to do. My computer is no slouch either. It's doing its thing. I could probably start playing now, actually. As you can see, I'm freely allowed to look around. There it goes. So, this is my team. I have to do a Control-Shift F11. They can't move here right now because the pathfinding's all screwed up. They normally can. There it goes. Now you're allowed. This is my base. I've built all this. Built these buildings. Built all this. Those and these and that. Yes. This front gate. Let's introduce you to these folks. These are my original folks, really. Before I actually created the bench squad. The bench squad is my kind of attempt to finish the game. There's a particular NPC I want to murder, which will kind of cap off the game for me. This has kind of been this whole I don't know, experience I've been doing since I've had this major panic episode recently. It's kind of been my meditation hours is to play Kenshi and work on this campaign. But I've got my folks here. Wick. These are all robots. Wick. Mobo. Burn. Zep. I've got a mod that lets me wear helmets on skeletons. Stubbs. Stubbs is actually a Greenlander. And not a robot. Same with Ruka. Ruka's a Shek. Which maybe I should have talked more about them when I was with the bench squad, but 10 of the people in the bench squad are Shek, which are big blue alien folks. We get Ruka to take her hat off. Oh, she's holding something random. Excuse me, Ruka. Can you please? This is this jank that I'm talking about, by the way. No jobs. So Ruka's unfortunate because Ruka's a unique character that you can pick up in a bar, and she's a Shek, but she's had her horns cut off. Normally they've got these glorious horns that are swept away from their face, but hers were cut off because she was dishonored. She ran from battle instead of dying. That's a big no-no in Shek culture. Okay, I'm gonna let you do your job now. Lower Servant is their name is Lower Servant because that is the name I accidentally didn't replace when they broke out of a slave pen with me. Lower Servant is a Greenlander woman who was broken out of a Holy Nation slave pen. We got Shrike. Shrike's a Scorchlander. Scorchlanders are like humans, but they've got glowing eyes and really dark skin. Then we've got Hiroto. Hiroto is my original scientist. They got a science skill of 87. They did all my research for me. And up the top here, all the way at the top of this lovely tower of mine, got IO, ROM, Logic, and CPU. They're all skeletons because skeletons don't need to eat, so they can just stay attached to those harpoon turrets forever and ever and ever and never get tired. They're basically automatic turrets now. I'm gonna borrow you, Ruka. Again, sorry. But like, you get into this whole thing with this game, right? Where I've got this building, which is dedicated to crafts. I've got a heavy armor smithy, plate beating station to make armor plating, chainmail sheet fabrication to make chainmail sheets, chain armor crafting station, an auto loom, clothing bench, leather armor crafting bench, leather tanning bench, electrical workbench. We've got more upstairs, by the way. Weaponsmith, skeleton limb bench, robotics bench, medical workbench, crossbow crafting bench, arrow making bench, and of course the research bench. So, you know, this game is deep. That's what I'm trying to say. This game is deep. It's got a lot going for it. And I just so happen to be finally working on this little task of mine, which is to kind of, I've created my own end goal. And my own end goal is to take on a particular NPC. And I refuse to name them, because if you choose to pick up Kenshi, and I highly suggest that you do, if you can look past the jank, because, I'm going to go down this road, because quite simply, it's so deep. There's a lot of deepness to it. Like, these guys are having this conversation. Watch it, the swamps are full of monsters lurking and hiding in the vines, waiting to pounce on their prey. Someone's probably going to respond to that in time. Monsters. Sounds like a challenge. My sword is waiting. The Shek really like to fight. And there's a reason for that. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything. Shit, you're always so tense, you know that? Whatever you Shek warriors are on, I want some of it. That's probably a hiver poking up. Who was that? We can find who was talking. Oh no, Melody, another Shek. Whatever you Shek warriors are on, I want some. You are a Shek warrior, Melody. I don't know what your problem is. You should understand. Oh, we got some skin spiders. Get them. Murder them. Make them pay for their insolence. Insolence? Like insulin and insolence. Alright. So yeah, that's Kenshi. And I think that's my video a day. I can't recommend this game enough. Even through all the jank, and even though I know it's never going to be properly finished, there is so much content here that it really doesn't matter that it's never going to be properly finished, because you're going to get, you know, at least tens of hours out of it, if you can get past the jank. I have to keep stressing that as well, because it's not easy to get into. There's a lot of learning you have to do yourself, unfortunately. But that trial and error can also be really, really fun and part of the experience. Because this is one of those games that, like RimWorld, where it gives you a story even if you fail. Even if you fail, you have a story to tell at the end of the day. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.